Hey, hello everyone. How are you doing? Excuse me. Good evening or good morning, wherever you might be at. Hope all is going well for you. Appreciate you being here, spending some time with me this evening or again this morning. Polynesian Pip, how you doing? Aloha. Nice to see those words. First thing, aloha. How you doing? Harold B. Good evening. How are you doing? Carrie Ellen Wilder. How you doing? Frigid, Pennsylvania. Cold, huh? Yes. Wow. How cold is it there? Okay, let's see what else. Yeah, today, we're going to be taking a look at things that basically, if doesn't change, countries like the U.S. are basically going to get checkmated, if that's the word, checkmated on. Um, when it comes to things like semiconductors, rare earth metals, even nickel, they really need to start making moves or really get left behind and may not be able to recover at that point. But we'll take a look at that. We're going to take a look also at some articles from Gerald Celente's Trends Journal. We'll revisit the Rob Kirby interview, revisit the Rafi Farber interview, and part of this, when we take a look back, or things that we U.S. is falling behind on, are the central bank digital currencies. And I'm going to show you an app that is rolled out already in China, so that way we can kind of have an idea of what these central bank digital currencies are, will do, and what will require. And this one's pretty significant. I think you folks may have some interest in it. So I'll be with you shortly. And again, let me know how the audio is coming in, if it's okay for you, and then we'll get this thing rolling. So I'll be with you all shortly. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television (SBTV). I'm your host, Patrick Vieira, and this is our live stream. Thank you for being here. Hopefully, nothing technically kind of starts to go wrong, but we'll see how it goes. Glad you could be here again. Let's see, Jay Delaney, how you doing? Um, are you ready for some crazy months ahead? Yeah, I think nothing's crazy at this point, right? I mean, it's just another area of crazy, but nothing really crazy from this point on. But I know what you mean. Yes, I'm ready for it. Peter Frauhein, how you doing? Abe Froman, yes, checkmate, and we'll talk about that. Vincent, how you doing? Good morning. Thanks for being here again, Vincent. Appreciate that. Let's see what else is out there. 7 degrees in Pennsylvania. My gosh, that's cold. Stay warm. Stay warm. Let's see what else is out here. Yeah, 49 fine. Aloha, how you doing? Paul, how are you doing? Patrick Bateman, greetings and salutations. Yeah, Pablo Pina, Gold Truckers. I think everyone's aware of this. So I think it's pretty amazing what they're doing. It's time to stand up. If you need to stand up, it's time to stand up. If you need to roll about the countryside and make a point, roll about the countryside. So Gold Truckers, absolutely. Truth Monster, yes. Saddle up and silver up. Party people. There you go, James Richter. Let's see what else is out there. Martin Ray. Yeah, Martin Rev. Excuse me. Martin Rev. I think I've seen your name before, but yes, greetings from Ottawa. Again, if it is your first time here, go ahead and type in new and also where you're from, and we'll see if we can go ahead and acknowledge you and appreciate you being here. Well, having said that, can you guys check your subscription, if you are still subscribed and if you are still getting notifications? Because I've had a few people tell me um, they've been unsubscribed, and they or else their notifications have been unticked or whatever it is. So if you can check on that, go ahead and check on it. I don't know why people are getting unsubscribed, but they've been telling me that for some reason they've been getting unsubscribed. So I don't know. Maybe there's I don't know. I won't say too much what's going on. But Mick, aloha. How you doing? John Palmer. Yes, welcome back. Good. It's good to be back in the seat again. Elias, how you doing? And yeah, I see a lot of gold truckers out there. So okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty important what they're doing. Absolutely important. Jeff Logue, first time I've seen your name here. Good day from South Georgia, USA. How you doing, sir? Glad you could make it. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. And as always, you guys can find us on social media. Silverbullion.com.sg is where you can find us on the web. This is our website over in Singapore where you can not only just buy, sell, and store precious metals, but more than that, we really do specialize in wealth protection. And as I always say, one, we need options, and two, if you know what's going on out there, and I know many of you do, um, you know, you're gonna, like I say, need options in wealth protection. And we do have a lot of items that we do provide, whether products or services that can help out with wealth protection. So be sure to give us a call or email us at sales@silverbullion.com.sg, and we can go ahead and take a look at what we can do for you or the options that are available. Facebook, Silver Bullion SG is where you can find us there. Twitter, Silver Bullion PL, PL for Private Limited is where you can find us on Twitter. Instagram, Silver Bullion SG. Hey, we're getting pretty modern. We're on Instagram as well, right? iTunes and Spotify, SBTV iTunes, SBTV Spotify is where you can find the audio versions, and Crisis Tracker. This is where you can just go ahead, and if you have that Telegram app, go ahead and search Crisis Tracker one word, and this is where Vincent and I will go ahead and we'll put in some news items if they pertain to things perhaps gold, silver, finance, economics, sometimes even a little bit of political issues because truth of the matter is politics is in just about everything. So we will, from time to time put in those items as well. But one word, Crisis Tracker, go ahead and search it if you have that Telegram app. So with that, again, thank you one and all for being here. Run through this one more time. Mr. Pasquale, 31, how are you doing? From cold Montreal, Canada. How you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us. Let's see what else is out there. Pablo Pina, I'm not sure about that, but I've heard they want to come down from the border and roll out into DC. That'll be interesting if they can do that, considering what's going on at the borders and who can come in, who can't come in. So that'll be interesting to see if they can actually make it down there. Yeah, 495, absolutely. It's really turned out to be more of a big deal than people thought it would be. So good on them. Let's see, Theta One, how you doing? Silver Surfer. Let's see, first time I've seen you here as well. Only Lord knows how you doing. From Nevada, Silver State. Anyone from the Silver State, it's always welcome. So how you doing, sir? Dubai, how you doing, Mister Abdul? Hope I pronounced it right. Hello from Dubai. Dubai is pretty active in the gold trade, gold industry. So always welcome to hear your comments there. What's going on in Dubai? So welcome aboard. And let me see, Deborah Strong, how you doing, ma'am? Virtual hug for you. Virtual hugs for everyone. So again, as always, please do subscribe, hit that bell, be notified on updates, and let's get it started. Upcoming guest is going to be Dr. Stephen Leeb. Pretty interesting fellow. Dr. Leeb is the founder of Leeb Capital Management. He is also a money manager, world-renowned economist, an expert in finance, and the best-selling author and chief of research, Intel for investors or investment news. And I'm not sure who's coming up after him, so we'll see who's going to get the nod or gives us the nod, I should say. But definitely Stephen Leeb, you want to chime in. He's Dr. Leeb. He knows economy, of course, very well. He knows finance very well, and he knows China pretty well. He's even wrote a book or two regarding China. So we're going to take that angle, get some insights with China and his opinions. Maybe you could consider it expert opinion in some ways, but we'll see what his take on China is. So I hope you folks will subscribe for that one. So that is our upcoming guest. We'll move on to our ebook or Amazon gift card thank you giveaway. We'll be giving away $10 Amazon gift cards to the first 5 people who can answer this question correctly in the allotted time of a minute and 30 seconds. So again, one of the first 5 before that timer runs out. US winners, you're going to be given a link to get that Amazon gift card. In fact, I think we're going to send you an email. So you'll have to send your email to us in this live stream. And so we can go ahead and get that out to you sometime after the live stream. If you're outside of the US, then you'll have to ask Amazon customer service If the gift card doesn't work for you and you're outside the U.S., if you can have some type of an exchange or arrangement with Amazon, and again, provide us with an email during this live stream. So we're going to head over to the question. The question is going to come from the Rafi Farber interview. Uh, you may know it even without watching it, so I'm kind of giving everyone a chance here, but be one of the first five. And so here we go. The question is going to be: at the point where the dollar hyperinflates, the Fed has lost all blank. Okay, at the point the dollar hyperinflates, the Fed has lost all blank. Okay, so go ahead and give it your best shot. And you got minutes and about 20 seconds or so left. So good luck. Go ahead, give it a shot. Give it a shot. Okay, let's see the comments in the meantime. Uh, bye fiat, gold and silver all day. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so get those answers coming in. Sepa J, first one I see out there is control. James Richter, control. What else is out there? Throttle, reason. Carrie Ellen Wilder, control. 495, credibility. Paul, control. Harold B, confidence. Truth Monster, confidence. The MiG 26, value. Mr. Pasquale, 31, confidence. Keep it going. Polynesian Pip, control. Trev R, credibility. Let's see what else we got out there. Fifth, credibility. Bill Wood. What else? Patrick Bateman, control. Faith's a good one. I like that, but unfortunately not the right not the right one. What else is out there? Um, lost all faith in the dollar. Tools, stability, control. James O'Keefe, credibility, or John O'Keefe, sorry, credibility, uh, control, abandon all hope. And okay, we'll end it there. Jack Walsh will be the last one with abandon all hope. And we have, looks like we got, hang on, one, two, three. We got four people that got it correct. The answer, credibility. So Bill Wood is one of them. Okay, and then we have Trev R, credibility. 49 Fine, credibility. And John O'Keefe, credibility. So these are the four winners. Again, Bill Wood, Trev R, 49 Fine, and John O'Keefe. And just to make sure that we got this correct, we're going to revisit Rafi Farber and make sure that he did indeed say credibility.
The question is, would the public trust the Fed that it has any gold? At the point where the dollar hyperinflates, the Fed has already lost all credibility. That's why it's hyperinflating. The dollar losing all value because people believe that there's nothing there. So in order to believably back a currency with gold or silver, they would have to have their supplies audited. And even then, people might not trust them because society will be so hopped up and mad that how are they going to get control of it back? With the entire banking system collapse, I don't see how they could even survive. I mean, I see the Federal Open Market Committee just like, taking a plane to some Pacific island and trying to hide out. I mean, people are going to be really mad. So what I see is more likely is that the monetary system will just break up and you'll have private monies and gold and silver coinages, maybe some new currencies coming out, but everything's going to break apart because there will be no faith in a central body anymore.
Okay, Rafi Farber using the word credibility. Kind of close. I can see where you got these other control and faith from, but the answer is really credibility. And I also found it pretty funny where Rafi had said, they may hop on a plane and run down to some Pacific island, because I'll tell you something. A few years ago, that was also my plan as well. You can go ahead and look up this on a map. NIUE, Niue. And that was the place I was going to head out to. I know some people who actually do live there. Niue, NIUE. That was going to be my hideout. But if the Fed is going to be headed out to Pacific Islands, then I don't think I'll be headed out down that way. So anyway, Rafi Farber. So do you think the U.S. has the stated 8,000 tons of gold? It's always been a question. They don't want to audit. Being that we do have the safe house, and we love to audit, and we love it when people actually go down there. So it's odd that us having a vault, we enjoy people coming so we can let them see the systems and how we operate, and let them really feel secure and trust us. We do it, but the Fed, no, they won't do it. So kind of makes you wonder, when people don't want to show you something, maybe they don't have it. Gold and silver Gold and silver in storage vault state need to be audited. Absolutely. Monetary system will break up and you will have private monies. That one was interesting. I mean, especially coming off the back of David Morgan and his Ithaca dollar, Ithaca hour, however you want to pronounce it. So that was pretty interesting when what he said there. There'll be no faith in a central monetary body anymore. And that one's pretty interesting also because, even though we, let's say you don't have faith in it, the problem is it'll still control so much. Unless you're a trucker, then you can just kind of break through any type of barrier that they may have up. So maybe we all should be a trucker there. But what are your thoughts on those few points that Rafi had to say? And I'll play another clip from that interview.
What gold is, it is money. That's what it is. It maintains the division of labor because the division of labor is impossible without money. And in order to start a division of labor, you need something with value that people just value for itself. Otherwise, without that, you need an authority to threaten people. And you can't start an economy with threats. You have to start it with organic trading. It's not an inflation hedge because gold is money. It can function as an inflation hedge. Yes, it can. But it is simply money that is not inflated. And you can't inflate gold, right? You can inflate on top of gold. Money that is not inflated is just money. For the same reason, it's not that gold is a unit of account. It can function as a unit of account. It's good at that for a lot of history. Gold is money. That's what it is. Everything else is just something that it can function as because it is a money.
Okay, gold is money. I think most of us here, we do believe this. I shouldn't say actually believe this. We do. We do believe this. Gold has always been money. And money needs to be something people value. You cannot start an economy with threats. You cannot start an economy with threats. Always important to remember that. And gold is money that cannot be inflated. What are your thoughts on this? Take a look at a few comments real quick while I see your thoughts roll in. Only Lord knows. New Age silver is nice. I tell you a pretty cool story. I do actually know one of the top attorneys in New Age. And I had asked about, what does it take to get coins minted there, or what arrangement does the government have? Do they take a kickback or whatever it is? And she says she knows nothing about it. They don't mint coins. So, all these coins like Niue, Cook Islands, Tuvalu, these types of coins, they may not actually really be minted there. It's just some type of an arrangement, I think, that is made. So, that's pretty interesting that a lot of the coins, they're not really actually made there. The place does exist though. That's for sure. But anyway, let me take a look at a few more comments here. Let's see. Yukon Cornelius audits revealed tungsten clad gold. Not sure if they will. Well, we gotta allow them to. They have to allow it to be audited in the first place. But again, getting back to our company, for example, if it's in the vault, we're gonna check it. It's as simple as that. So if you a lot of you folks, you may store overseas, whatever it is, and you may never even have seen your gold and silver, not much less visited the vault. So this is a service that we go ahead and again bring some transparency and a feeling of being comfortable knowing that what you have is what it is stated to be. Being 9999 gold, a certain weight of gold, making sure it's really gold. And we do this with our ducts testing, density, ultrasound, and X-ray. So, if you have something in a vault, you may want to ask those vault guys, hey, do you test my things? Because otherwise, they're just going to pack it up and store it for you. It'll never be tested. You don't know. You may not know if it's real or not. So, always good to have those things checked. One more clip from Rafi Farber.
A CBDC will be transacted with so fast, and it makes the process of hyperinflation, which is a defense mechanism of society, so much easier to do because you don't even have to transfer anything. You just push a button on your phone and transfer it. So once hyperinflation hits, the CBDC, which itself is based on the dollar, which is based on gold and silver, will collapse. So let them do their CBDCs and let them hyperinflate their monetary system and collapse everything, and then they'll lose control. Because when they lose control of the monetary system, they lose control of everything, and it's back in the hands of the public. So bring it on.
Bring it on, bring it on. CBDC is quick. And these parts I found interesting with what Rafi had to say. Some I agreed with. Some, I had to think about. CBDCs are quick. Yeah, they'll be quick. CBDCs will collapse. That one, eh, that's a tough one. We'll see how it rolls out. Thing is, either we are going to allow it or not allow it. So he has a point there. The money will come back into the hands of the people. And that is something I truly hope. We have to decide what is valuable to us, what money will be. I mean, we can't have just a paper, or much less not even a paper, just a thought of something existing. It's got to be real. My opinion, it's got to be real. So I'm curious to see what you folks also say about that. Uh, Bill Wood, Scottsdale makes the coins. Um, I think Scottsdale, I think even New Zealand Mint may be making some of those coins. Um, a lot of these Pacific islands, they are attached to New Zealand in some way. So it could be who knows. But it was all about money. It's about money. Whoever's going to pay for it, can go ahead and get that, do the minting, right? So let's see what else is out there. Um, Absolutely, Mrs. Rabbit. Gold is the money of kings, silver is the money of gentlemen, and debt is the money of servants, slaves. So, absolutely, you want to be a king as much as possible. Definitely want to be a gentleman as much as you can, or as long as you can, depending on the situation out there. Definitely don't want to be owned by anyone. That is true. That is true. So moving on, we also had the privilege to have Rob Kirby. We didn't speak to him in quite a while, so it was really nice to see him. And of course, he always has some pretty cool things to say. So here's a few clips from Rob Kirby.
Probably America's biggest fear. At some point, the dollars they have are going to return home. America's biggest export is dollars. A lot of people might think it's arms, and a lot of people might think it's technology. America's biggest export is dollars. And they've sent so many dollars to so many places around the world. Their biggest fear is one day those dollars come home because people want something real and tangible for them. And when those dollars return home, what happens? You get a hyperinflation.
Rob Kirby. Rob Kirby. He is doing well. He is doing well. He had health issue before, but he is doing well. The fear of dollars returning home. Absolutely, absolutely there. People will want something real and tangible for them. Hyperinflation is what he's looking at, when these things start coming home. And he's got a point. I mean, you can imagine all the money printing going on, what it's doing. You can imagine all these dollars coming back home. They will definitely, that will definitely bring in hyperinflation or severe inflation when you have all that much more money chasing after a limited supply of goods, not to mention supply chain issues are still out there. So, that would definitely, that would hurt significantly. Get some gold and silver, right? So again, uh, fear of dollars returning home. That's pretty important. Yeah, James Richter, Rob is my favorite. Rob is Rob. He's going to tell you what's on his mind. He's going to give you the truth as he knows it. Speculates a bit here and there, but it's okay because he sees things a lot of times that the rest of us might not. So Rob Kirby, one of the good guys out there. Here's one more clip from Rob.
Every fiat currency ever devised by mankind has gone to zero. Precious metal has never gone to zero. Precious metal has been money for 5,000 years. We know that man has been walking this earth for at least 5,000 years. And gold and silver has been money for all of that period of time. Never once has it gone to zero, but every fiat currency ever devised by mankind has gone to zero. In my view, it would be pretty foolish to think that gold and silver aren't going to be money or remain money in the future because they have history on their side. When you think of treasure, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Treasure is gold and silver. Treasure is not a Bitcoin. The books may get rewritten, and maybe at some point, Bitcoin will be viewed as treasure. But classically, when you speak treasure to somebody, they think gold and silver. Why? Because They're time tested, and they've never, ever gone to zero.
Okay, every fiat currency goes to zero. Precious metals never return to zero. Gold and silver have a history of being money. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Treasure is gold and silver, and they are time tested. What are your thoughts on those? I've had I remember one guy saying, you don't find, a whole bunch of dollar bills, in a treasure chest that was sunk off of a ship, or whatever it is. But if you found that, and if it was lying next to gold and silver, chances are you would take that gold and silver over that fiat. But that's kind of a funny story. So I'd throw that out there, Mister Abdul. Thank you for sharing this one. Silver has a different value in the West than in the Middle East. For example, silver hardly exists in Dubai out of a very low interest from the public. Okay, people here are interested in gold only. Okay, thanks for that input. Middle East, I think it's a gold hub for sure. So I would take what you said in as truth. So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. What else is out there? Let me take a look real quick. Um, okay, let me just get to the other clip from Rob Kirby. Um, yeah, one more clip.
The U.S. government, in theory, could retire all their outstanding debt with one fell swoop because the money is there in the Exchange Stabilization Fund right now. The only problem with doing that is that if one were to acknowledge the existence of the money that I'm talking about, or that I'm alluding to, the dollar would lose its position as the world reserve currency overnight. Nobody would take dollars if they realized that the amount of money that they believed was X was indeed 1,000X or 100X, because that would shock the world into realizing that the dollar's worthless. And if that occurs, the guys who've been playing God, ruling the world, using dollars to bribe and to coerce people around the world and to pay their military to do their dirty work, if that currency suddenly turned to confetti, they lose all their power. So they have a vested interest in not acknowledging. They don't want people to realize that the amount of money in existence is far, far, far greater than what's acknowledged.
All right, Rob Kirby. Only one thing I have a hard time with is when I check my wallet, I don't have any of that overprinting or anything is in my wallet. So if it's in existence, it's not anywhere near me. Excuse me. So I hope a lot of you out there are getting that extra money in existence. The debt could be retired. Okay. According to Rob, the debt could be retired. There is a risk the world would lose faith, though, in the dollar if it extinguished the debt all at once. And if the currency turns into confetti, governments lose their power. All good points there. And there is far greater money in existence than we know. Like I said, not in my wallet, at least. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Doe? What are your thoughts on Rob Kirby? It's been a while since we've had him. And again, go ahead and make sure that even though you're here, if you're still subscribed and if you're still getting updates, we appreciate that. Let us know, Mrs. Rabbit. Your printer is out of ink. Sure, the Fed has a lot. Maybe that's one way to get rich. I mean, open up an ink company and supply the Fed. I mean, I'm sure those guys made a lot of money, right? So, all right. So let's see what else is out there. Again, that's Rob Kirby. Appreciate him coming on. We'll move over to Gerald Celente, his recent trends journal, grabbing homes and warehouses in Europe, the metaverse once again, digital dollar, and buying up America. Investors in Europe's real estate poured a record €359 or 359 billion euro into the market back in 2021, forsaking office buildings and storefronts for warehouses and homes. Of those funds, €102 billion was sunk into multifamily housing, 42% more than in 2020. This is also a phenomenon in the U.S. where corporate is buying up homes, even zip codes. Multifamily housing is now close to office property as Europe's biggest real estate asset category. The continent's investor put €111 billion into office buildings last year, a 20% decline from 2019 as money managers ponder the future impact of the remote work revolution. Abercrombie and Fitch, Nike, Ralph Lauren, Urban Outfitters, and Walmart. Walmart, if you can believe this, look at the names it's up there in company with, are among retailers who have filed trademark applications in recent weeks that detail their plans to set up shop in the metaverse, the virtual world where people's digital identities, there you go, digital identities can work, attend concerts and other events, and most importantly, shop. Walmart has indicated plans to issue its own cryptocurrency and NFT collectibles. In the metaverse, it also plans to sell virtual merchandise, including electronics, home decor, athletic equipment, toys, and personal care products. According to the company's 7 trademark applications filed back in December of last year, their super intense trademark attorney Josh Gerben told CNBC there's a lot of language in these, which shows that there's a lot of planning going on behind the scenes about how they're going to address cryptocurrency, how they're going to address the metaverse, he added. Nike's trademark applications show a plan to sell virtual sports shoes and clothing. It also has partnered with metaverse platform Roblox to create a virtual realm called Nike Land. Last month, Nike bought the virtual sneaker company RTFKT, and the price was not disclosed. Gap has begun selling digital replicas of its logo sweatshirts for as much as $415. But a bonus, the purchase includes a real hoodie. All right, thank you for that. Now, already, Adidas and Under Armour have sold out their initial slate of NFTs, which now fetch jaw-dropping prices on the trading platform OpenSea. All of a sudden, everyone is like, this is becoming a super real. Well, it is becoming super real, and we need to make sure our IP is protected in the space. Many retailers came late to e-commerce and now fear missing opportunities in the metaverse, said Director Frank Chaparro at crypto data service The Block. He told CNBC. Buying up America. Remember that Trump deal? Okay, these aren't my words now, okay? These are coming from the Trends Journal. Remember that Trump deal with the communist Chinese where lovable Pooh Bear Xi Jinping agreed, going to get censored for that one, that's for sure, agreed to buy up all that American agriculture. Well, despite recent news that under Joe Biden, China is reneging on those Trump era agreements, rest assured China is buying plenty. But here's the catch, they're not simply buying tons of wheat and soybeans and corn and beef from farmers across the fertile plains of the U.S. The Trends Journal previously alerted readers to China's agricultural land grab, one of their back issues back in July of 2021. Now, an expose from the National Pulse details how the Chinese strategy is only expanding. Figures show that CCP-backed Chinese investors acquired upwards of 192,000 acres of American agricultural property by the start of 2020. The land is worth about 1.9 billion and constitutes an exponential growth in ownership over the last 10 years. For example, a Chinese billionaire called Sun Guanxin and his business GH America Energy, LLC, a subsidiary of China's Guanghui, got that wrong, energy company, made one significant purchase that was traced. Sun purchased 140,000 acres in a Texas county near the Mexican border and Laughlin Air Force Base for 110 million. I think Laughlin is still where the Air Force trains their security police. The capture of American land by Chinese, or let's just say the purchase, to be fair here, of American land by Chinese people and corporations is not limited to Sun. Syngenta was purchased by ChemChina, a Chinese state-owned, this is different now, state-owned company for 43 billion in 2017, according to the Pulse. While the mainstream media has characterized the acquisition as a poor bargain for China, it provides the country with enormous long-term control over global and local food supply. CCP's food security strategy includes the acquisition of U.S. property, presenting a huge danger to the American public's food and national security. Something to keep an eye on. Digital dollar. On 20 January, the U.S. Federal Reserve issued its long awaited study on the prospect of creating a digital dollar. The 40-page report took no position on creating a dollar stablecoin, but called its report the first step in a public discussion between the Federal Reserve and stakeholders about central bank digital currencies. The paper noted a digital dollar's benefits, including speeding payments and drawing more unbanked. There's that word again, unbanked. I said pay attention. This word is going to come up more and more. Drawing more unbanked people into the mainstream financial system. The Fed's initial analysis suggests that a potential digital dollar, if one were created, would best serve the needs of the U.S. by being privacy protected, intermediated, widely transferable, and identity verified. Okay. Advocates point to other nations' progress in creating their own digital currencies, most notably China, which we're going to take a look at. As I mentioned, there is a functioning app. We're going to look at it and see what it's doing, which already has begun widespread distribution of its digital yuan. Some fear that China's leadership in creating a digital currency ultimately could threaten the dollar's position as the world's reserve currency. The Fed will not create a digital currency unless Congress passes a law authorizing to do so, bank officials said. That one, that one is important. Congress cannot do it unless you allow it or you put in representatives who allow it. Keep that in mind as we move forward. So that'll wrap up our guest revisit. And we're going to move on over to our website, silverbullion.com.sg. A lot of interesting things from Celente in that last trends journal. So here we go. We see gold at 1790 going down a bit. We see silver 22.49. It was doing so nicely at 24.50. It's come down some $2. So you know what that means. We can fret for a while, but after that, go ahead and get your keys, start up that truck, and head on down to your your local bullion dealer and back it up. Here we go. Let's see what else is out there. Silver to gold ratio 79.6. It was down to about 75. Came back up to 79, almost at 80 again. Let me see let's see. Okay, yeah, platinum is also down. Okay, platinum is also down. Just wanted to check that there. Featured products, again, silver coins, 1 ounce coins, gold 1 ounce coins, eagles, 1 kilogram gold bars. These are some of the things that we do have. And I just want to take a look at the LBMA bars again. I always take a look at this because it seems like in some parts of the world there's a shortage on these bars, or it's a little bit more difficult to get. But for us, I think I can safely say we've never really had a problem getting these 1,000 ounce LBMA bars. And investors, a lot of times investors prefer this 1,000 ounce LBMA bar simply because it has the lowest spread, lowest premium, so they will load up on this type of silver. If you do want that and you do want to store it with us, you can go ahead and sign up as a user. And again, we do have a few different types of accounts. Personal account, if it's just you and you alone. Joint accounts for you and your significant other. Trust accounts, if you're looking forward to the future. Well, I should say, if you want to create a trust, you can go ahead and create a trust account. Joint account with a minor. If you got children out there, this is something that you absolutely want to take a look at. Trust or joint accounts with minors, business accounts, and retirement accounts. We've had some emails come in asking if we do have a precious metals IRA type of a deal. Yes, we do. You can hold your precious metals here in Singapore with us if you're interested in a precious metals IRA. Personal account, very, very simple information. You just need your name and an ID, and you just need to fill out the application. Country of nationality, preferred currency. That is because if you want to sell it while we are storing it for you, you own it. If you want to sell it, we will go ahead and buy it back from you, and we will send the currency to your bank account. So this is why we need preferred currency. Again, username, password, very, very basic information. References, this one helps us out a lot, quite a bit. Kind of at the bottom here. Go ahead and put in YouTube, SBTV. This really helps us out a lot. And remember, signing up for these accounts, they are free. There are no maintenance fees. It is an option. as I've always said, we all need options. So it's an option that's good to have ready to go. This one here you want to tick simply because if we have an email we need to send you, you'll just get an email saying you have a notification. We don't write anything in the body of that email. You guys know how things are already with algos and everything else, looking at things, scraping things. So you want to keep this private. You would want to click on secure notification. So again, a lot of different things that we have here for you when it comes to wealth protection, different types of things that we can do. Moving on to Twitter, few items that we took a look at. Yes, WTF. What happened in 71? Interesting photo here. You can see down here, 70. National debt was still holding a level. I mean, you can see here 40s. Obviously, that was the war, bumped it up a bit. And 70, after 70, when Nixon took us off the gold window, or closed that gold window, I should say, everything has just been, well, it depends on what you do, either terrible or really good. But you can see that the debt has just soared. So it's a pretty good graphic here to take a look at. And we had Albert Herney, CFA, silver enthusiast. Investing in silver is a lot like the lottery. You know that you're in for a world full of pain and misery. Yes, it can be. But you also know that your casual 10-ounce order one weekend may be the one that finally brings down the entire world financial system and makes you wealthier than 99% of the people. This takes me back to, I think it was David Morgan, when he had said, if all the people in the world own silver, everyone would just have 1/14th of an ounce. And that's it. That would be distributed among, excuse me, all the world's people, 1/14th of an ounce. So if you got 1 ounce, you're better off than 14 people, or you're in a better situation than 14 people. If you have 2 ounces, again, it just multiplies exponentially. So I can see where he's coming from. Wall Street Silver. How can he, meaning Jerome Powell, talk about a pause in rate hikes already? Excuse me, I think this is Kashkari. How can he talk about a pause in rate hikes already? They haven't even started rate hikes yet. They haven't even done much of a taper yet either. But Fed's cash carry, a pause in rate hikes in the spring is possible. Amazing, amazing stuff. Dan Collins, if everyone had to pay for wars during the time that they were happening, most would never occur, and the ones that did would be of a much shorter duration. World War One largely ended when the Germans ran out of money. Fiat currency lies at the heart of military adventurism. Great point. When you can willfully, when you just print money at will, it doesn't have value. It does not have value anymore. Just print more and more and more. It just doesn't have value. Lynette Zhang, Bashas in Southdale, Arizona. I'm not familiar with the store, but showing a lot of empty shelves again. So let me know. Go ahead and write in the comment section wherever you are. How are the store shelves? Are they still fully stocked? Are they kind of going down? Are the prices rising? Do you see smaller items at the same price, meaning shrinkflation? Let me know, because we don't we're not seeing what's happening in the U.S. in this part of the world. So let us know. Reminder: if 1 in 10 American households raised a half-acre garden and kept 35 laying hens, there would be no industrial egg or vegetable production. Okay, let me open up this thread here. So again, if you had 35 laying hens, you wouldn't, or there would be no industrial egg or vegetable production. If 1 in 10 American households did this, I think there was supposed to be more to this. Hang on. Okay, I'm not sure what happened, but he also went into milking cows and things like that, and you'd be amazed how low the numbers actually would be for us to get rid of industrial type of farming. Let's see, Peter. German households hold more than 9,000 tons of gold, while the Bundesbank has some 3,362 tons. In Italy, some 6,400 tons of gold are privately owned, compared to the 2,500 tons owned by the central bank. And in France, it's 4,700 tons privately owned in gold compared to 2,000 tons in the bank. You look at those people, we actually have more gold in our hands, privately owned, than do the central banks. Might be a good idea to keep stacking. Rob Keats, again, supply chain, a lot of empty shelves there, a lot of empty shelves there. And Franklin, no, this is pretty interesting. In the U.S., private parties can settle debts using any medium they wish and are not required to use legal tender. But if you are dealing with the government, you will have to use legal tender to pay taxes and fees and accept it as payment. Okay, so that was a look at Twitter. Let me catch up with you guys and see what all the comments are. Um, let me just run through it real quick. Let's see. Carrie Ellen Wilder store shelves full in rural northern Pennsylvania, except for a big shortage of Pepperidge Farms cookies. Prices rising sharply. Gotta have the cookies, right? We all gotta have cookies. What's life without cookies? What else is out there? Um, let's see. Just want to take a look at a few comments here. Yes, Build Wood 495, John O'Keefe, Trev R. Congrats on winning today's quiz. Please email us. Email us sbtv@silverbullion.com.sg if this is the first time that you've won. Okay, Vincent, thanks for bringing that out. I guess we'll head on over to the topic of the day. A nation falling behind, the nation rising to the front. Is the U.S. headed towards a checkmate? Um, that's the question. The U.S. seems to not be able to um, understand the urgency of so many things, except perhaps politicians who have a need to be there 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It seems like that is more important than the people right now. But I'm going to start off by playing a clip from the Fed and Jerome Powell and see what he had to say at the recent FOMC meeting.
Good afternoon. At the Federal Reserve, we are strongly committed to achieving the monetary policy goals that Congress has given us: maximum employment and price stability. Today, in support of these goals, the Federal Open Market Committee kept its policy interest rate near zero and stated its expectation that an increase in this rate would soon be appropriate. The committee also agreed to continue reducing its net asset purchases on the schedule we announced in December, bringing them to an end in early March. As I will explain, against a backdrop of elevated inflation and a strong labor market, our policy has been adapting to the evolving economic environment, and it will continue to do so.
Okay, so I want to show you something here. I want to go to the Fed balance sheet. Okay, and I just want to take a quick look at something here. And let me just open. I guess you guys can see it there. So total assets in millions of dollars. It's the top line here. And let me pinch down a bit, but we can see starting from 2008. This is why I said if an economist tells you the economy has recovered, run. It's never recovered. Okay, not on its own anyway. It's always been with the help of the Fed. So if we go here to the more recent things, and I can come down here, and the date of this, you look at the bottom. Let's go back to September, October. This is when that whole repo market broke, and you can see what happened here. Everything just went ballistic. And then here you start to see a lot of up and down movement, up and down, up and down, up and down in their assets. So it seems to me, when the Fed is talking about tapering and whatnot, I kind of look at it as they're doing it here. They're buying some, they're selling back, especially if you want to go into like the reverse repo market. I mean, there's a lot of, ups and downs, their assets, buying assets. And then obviously you got rid of some assets if you went back down. If you didn't buy anymore, it would have stayed flat, right? But it went down, so they must have got rid of some of the assets. So this is pretty interesting. And then it kind of goes into what Jerome Powell said in his next clip.
To provide greater clarity about our approach for reducing the size of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, today the committee issued a set of principles that will provide a foundation for our future decisions. These high-level principles clarify that the federal funds rate is our primary means of adjusting monetary policy, and that reducing our balance sheet will occur after the process of raising interest rates has begun. Reductions will occur over time in a predictable manner, primarily through adjustments to reinvestments, so that securities roll off our balance sheet. Over time, we intend to hold securities in the amounts needed for our ample reserves operating framework, and in the longer run, we envision holding primarily Treasury securities. Our decisions to reduce our balance sheet will be guided by our maximum employment and price stability goals. In that regard, we will be prepared to adjust any of the details of our approach to balance sheet management in light of economic and financial developments.
All right, what that means that Jerome Powell got a lot of that going on. But what he said is pretty interesting, and if you think about what I just showed you, they're buying up assets and then they sell some back, they buy up and then sell back, and I guess that those are things like when you look at the reverse repo market, they're trying to sell it back. But he said basically, if I envision this chart, it seems like it's going to just kind of stay where it is, just kind of, flat line at the top, not really be so much of an incline. And then he hopes to raise interest rates and then see those interest rates, allow them start to roll off what they have on that Fed balance sheet. So to me, it seems like he's not really going to do too much, and except to wait for those interest rates and to rise and then see if they can roll off some of those assets. Otherwise, to me, it just seems like it's going to be more of those little up and down ticks, uh, not really going to affect the markets too much. I would think, and it's not. If you take a look at it, gold and silver should be rising, and it's not. Markets are still going. Um, I think the Fed knows they can't really do much, and we've had a lot of guests who came on and said that. And then we had a question for Jerome Powell that came out from the audience. So I'll play this question.
He testified that the supply chain issues could be worked out by the end of the year. He talked about that today. The CEO of Ford, though, told Fox Business today that the chip shortage will last into 2023. So today you said inflation will start to ease this year. I want to drill down and get a timeline that you see as to when we could see that relief. Thank you.
So I would not say that I would expect the supply chain issues to be completely worked out by the end of this year. I do not expect them, and I have not expected them. What I would say, and I have been saying, is that I expect progress to be made in the second half of this year, mainly. Progress, because we're not making much progress. If you look at a ton of metrics, you can find some that suggest that delivery times are shorter and inventories in some industries moving up. But overall, we're not making progress. It's like the semiconductor issue. They're going to be quite a long time. I would think they'll go more than through 2023.
Okay. Now that was interesting with what he said, because as we've often talked about, no matter what the Fed does, they can print all the money they want. Problem is, they can stimulate all they want. Problem is they cannot produce the goods and services that we are going after and buying. And what I mean is, if they lower the money supply, thinking that less dollars will be chasing these goods and services, well, if you have an issue with the supply chain and there's less in supply, less dollars, less supply, it didn't really do anything. It's a net zero type of a thing. So I mean, he can talk all he wants about these things, but he has no control over the supply chain, and that makes a very, very big difference. Anyway, I want to take a look at a few things the U.S. has fallen behind and the danger it implies. I want to spend some time on CBDCs once again, since there is now a fully functioning app in China that is again, it's working right now. And this app should give us a peek at what other central banks will do, or perhaps the plan for central banks. This is why this app, I found, can be pretty important. And then we'll brush on a couple other things that are critical resources, which the U.S. has fallen behind on, that are becoming a national security issue. So I'm going to play a few clips regarding this CBDC app. So bear with me. Let me lower the sound. For some reason, the original movie file just seems to clip quite a bit. So All right, here we go. A fully functioning CBDC app.
Hey everyone, today is a big day. Do you know what that is? That is my new digital RMB app, and we're going to do an app review today to show you what the new digital RMB or digital yuan app looks like. For anybody who doesn't know, my name is Rich and I live in Shanghai, and I'm the author of a book called Cashless. And I'm fascinated by China's new central bank digital currency, the digital yuan. And that is a picture of Mao. And Mao, of course, is on all of the paper money in China. So that's why, of course, he's also on the digital RMB or digital yuan app. So here we go. We're going to dive straight in. Here's the Apple App Store entry for the Shuzi Renminbi or the digital RMB. Downloaded it, and we're going to take a look at about 4 of what I call the great design features of the app. So number 1 on the app, and you're going to see this from the first time that you start it and use it, is of course the ability to use multiple bank accounts on one app. Now, one thing to make sure of is that we understand that this app, the app that I'm reviewing today, is the one issued by the People's Bank of China. This isn't a separate bank app. There will be plenty of apps to use digital RMB, but today it's specifically the brand new PBOC issued app. So here's the app off to my side, and when we open it up, there's the most important thing is that we can pick between 2 different wallets. One is attached in this case to ICBC, and the blue one that we saw was attached to my bank. Now I set these up, and this is how we set them up. We open a wallet, you do a little bit, you push one of these icons for your bank, and you can log in and add any one of these banks to your digital yuan wallet. So here's ICBC, and here's my bank. I have 2, and you could potentially have many more. And that's a really great design feature because it eliminates the need to have multiple apps, multiple wallets. Oh, which one is it? Where is it? No, they're all in one place, which makes it much easier to use.
Okay, so first thing, everything is going to come under one umbrella. You have that digital wallet. You bring in your other wallets, your other accounts. You bring it all into one space. And remember this. Remember what I'm saying right here. Yes, I did think he looked like Conan O'Brien. Yes, the dentist guy from the Rudolph. That Rudolph Christmas special thing. But anyway, I'm going to just roll through 3 more things or 3 more clips from him, and then maybe we can go ahead and talk about it. I think you guys are going to be surprised here. All right, here we go.
So, great design feature number 2, which maybe isn't a surprise to most of you. It's that the apps use QR code payment. Now, you probably knew that already, but let's face it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. WeChat, Alipay, everybody uses QR in China. So how do we pay with this? Well, there's the home screen. If you slide down, you can get the payment code. This is the payment code to pay me, and you can enter in how much you want the person to pay you. So if I'm a vendor, I'd put that in, right? The other button there is to show you the transaction history. I haven't used it yet, so I have no transactions. Now, if you go down or swipe up, then you get to the pay merchant. And anybody who tries to use this QR code, please, you can't use it. All WeChat, Alipay, all the QR codes that are generated in these apps, they're good for about 30 to 60 seconds, and then they go away. The other way that we can pay is using scan. So this is the tap feature where the NFC code works to tap things, and we can tap things, and we can also, of course, scan QR codes. And here I use my book Cashless. Why not? And of course, it delivers an error message saying we can't take payment from that. So there we go. We've got QR codes to receive payment, QR codes to make payment. We've got the NFC or near field communication built into the phone to make tap payments. And we've also got, of course, the camera scanning to scan a QR code. Real easy.
Okay, a couple more clips.
Great design feature number 3. Mobile app transfer, and this was really a surprise to me. I had no idea that they were going to do this, and it's a brilliant idea. Let me explain and let me show you how it works. So here's again the home screen. The app is going to start up. There we go, and you touch it and it flips over, and I say top up. This is how to get the money onto it. So now I got money on my app through mobile banking. So I have mobile banking open on logged in on my phone, and the ECNY app goes to my mobile banking app. They communicate, and it takes the money out of my account. And you can also see the different bank accounts that you can draw from. So that's really a neat feature, because the two apps are communicating with one another, which means they must have been working this out for a long time before. You can also, of course, link cards, which I haven't been able to do yet because I need a Chinese ID card to be able to link my bank card to the ECNY app for now. They'll get around to putting my passport or foreigner passport details in, but for now, it's just done with the code. So I want to take a step back here, and I want to show you something really key. And this is sort of for geeks, but I'm a geek and I love this stuff. We often talk about what exactly is on the wallet. And tokens are on the wallet. And the guys who coded this are tech geeks just like me. And there's a little button there that says, show the token. And you can actually look at, and I'm going to go back to make sure.
Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the last part. But so far, what do you think about this? I mean, the convenience is a huge selling point. I mean, everything is under one app at this point. All your banking, you can transfer money into this app. You can top up. You can use it to buy and sell or spend anyway. People can send you money right now through this thing. But the part for me is obviously there is a way for that app owner or developer to be able to see everything going on, right? I mean, if it's all one umbrella, I mean, for certain they know everything that's going on within that app. But I want to take you to the last point that he brings up, because for me anyway, this is what I found pretty interesting.
Unlimited payment. This was truly the most fascinating and interesting thing for me to see with the wallet design. Ready? If I have a wallet that is the first tier, which means I've gone through the maximum amount of KYC, how much is my maximum spend? Unlimited. Now that's mind-blowing and highly not anticipated. There's some caveats, and we're going to talk about it in a second. So here's that graph that I think is so fascinating.
Okay, let me pause this. I want you guys to take a look at something. At the top, category 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you go down vertically. Category 1, identification requirements, mobile number, valid ID, linking bank account, and visit a bank branch. And then with the wallet, for your balance, unlimited single transaction, unlimited daily transactions, unlimited annual transactions. So it's all unlimited. In other words, the most information you give, the more they're going to give you back. Meaning you can spend more, buy more, spend more, whatever it is, as freely as you want with the more information that you give. Now you come down to category 4, which they call anonymous. Identification requirement, a mobile number. Okay. I can tell you in places here in Asia, like Singapore, I cannot get a mobile number or a SIM card unless I give them an ID. So this is not entirely anonymous. In places like the Philippines, I can go ahead and get a SIM card with no ID. So that would be anonymous. But anyway, within this category 4, your balance, 10,000. And again, this is one. Okay, so this is not much in terms of US dollars. single transaction is only 2,000, which again is not much. A daily transaction, meaning you add up all your daily transactions, 5,000 is your limit. Again, it's not much. This is Chinese yuan. If somebody wants to look that up, I'd appreciate that. The yuan to dollar exchange rate right now. And then annually, you have 50,000 uh, worth in transactions that you can use this app for, the central bank digital currency app. Annually, 50,000. That's it. And again, this is one. This is not dollars. It will be even less. So this is the part I found interesting, where the more information you give them, the more freedom you have to do whatever you want with your money. Um, and some people may say, okay, well, this is not a big deal. This is like what KYC at banks are today. Well, to a point, But the thing is, you can, with this, you have limits. Okay, you are not going to be allowed to buy and sell as you please. You're going to have caps and limits. So, this is it's a little bit different here, and this is how a fully functioning app works right now. So you can imagine that these same types of things are going to be implemented in other types of apps, and they all want it under one roof. Okay, everything should come under the roof of this one app. So this is the interesting part. And then I found this, and it kind of all made sense here.
Jedes Mal, wenn eine Website uns auffordert, eine neue digitale Identität zu erstellen oder uns bequem über eine große Plattform anzumelden, haben wir in Wirklichkeit keine Ahnung, was eigentlich mit unseren Daten passiert. Und aus diesem Grund wird die Kommission demnächst eine sichere europäische digitale Identität vorschlagen. Eine, der wir vertrauen und die Bürgerinnen und Bürger überall in Europa nutzen können, um alles zu tun, vom Steuerzahlen bis zum Fahrradmieten. Eine Technologie, bei der wir selbst kontrollieren können, welche Daten ausgetauscht und wie sie verwendet werden.
Okay, so there you go. That's another one app, and everything falls under the umbrella of that one app. It's kind of disturbing when she's she's honest. It's kind of disturbing when they will say how other apps, you don't know what these companies are doing with your data, which is true. You don't know, but then again, you're giving everything to the government instead. So either way, you're giving a lot of your information to either a private or to government, and things are moving towards these all under one umbrella type of apps, especially when it's going to come to central bank digital currency. So yes, they are going to know what you're buying and things like that. They are know what bank accounts you're getting money from and things like that. And it's what guys are saying seems to be true. It does seem to be true here. There has to be some level of privacy. And if you look at that, the mobile app in China, that you can have privacy, but you're not going to be able to spend a whole lot. So that's an issue. That comes back to that whole banked and unbanked thing. If you're unbanked, you're not going to have a whole lot that you can do. If you're banked and you give all the info, they'll give you a little bit more things that you'll be able to do. So keep that in mind. That is a fully functioning CBDC. Now, when you look at those again, it translates to a limited number of daily transaction amounts, yearly transaction amounts, and even the balance that you can hold. And it's not even really anonymous. Like I say, there are places where if you you go ahead and get a SIM card for your phone, you're still having to give an ID, so they do know who that phone number actually belongs to. And as I mentioned, the differences, let's say, between Philippines and Singapore. And this kind of takes me back to my first interview with Daniel DiMartino Booth 3 years ago. And I'm going to play you 3 clips when I had a talk with her, because it's very relevant to what's going on today.
So I think that the apparatus, the structure of the Federal Reserve needs to be drastically streamlined to where it is. We no longer write checks at the grocery store. There are certain functions that no longer apply. And I think the power base needs to be shifted away from Washington, D.C. and from the New York Fed. I think that the fact that they've had such autonomy in recent crisis have gotten us into these problems. I think many conflicts of interests occur inside the New York Fed and at the Federal Reserve Board in Washington, D.C. So I would rip it down to the studs. I would almost Ron Paul it, almost. And then I would build it back up from the ground up and truly have it be an apolitical institution focused solely on inflation.
Yeah. Okay, she would Ron Paul it. It's another clip. Cashless, is that a good idea?
Ask people in India. No, it's not a good idea.
Yeah,
No, it's just a way to exert control. And I have to disagree with that because I don't think the Fed needs any more control of our financial lives. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So,
for our Bitcoin buffs, you think the Fed will come out with some type of crypto coin?
I think they have to. It goes to national security. I don't think they have a choice because if the Russians and the Chinese are already there, then we have to have one, or they would have a tool with which to take advantage of us, and that we can't have that.
Okay.
So it's not a choice. And it's not something that they would necessarily, I'm heartened because Randy Quarles, who's new to the Fed, and Powell both have said in deference to Ken Rogoff, they've both said that if there is Fed coin, it will be just as anonymous as any cash transaction would be. And that's the key because the Russians and the Chinese, they're going to be watching what their citizens buy. They're going to be using sovereign cryptocurrencies as a means to monitor their populations. And that's what we can't have here in the United States.
Okay, so there's some truth to that. I mean, we saw the app. You're not really going to have anonymity. It seems to look that way. But cashless is not a good idea. This is coming from someone who worked in the halls of the Fed. She says cashless is not a good idea. And sovereign central bank digital currencies can be used to monitor you. I think, that one is pretty obvious. I mean, if that is sort of an umbrella app, that developer or those developers or whoever wants, they're going to be able to see everything going on that you are doing. One more clip from Danielle DiMartino Booth. Question for the average U.S. citizen or person in the world for that matter. Can we trust the Fed?
I hope so. If Janet Yellen had been reappointed, I would have given you a simple no. Because this is a woman who said, let's use the Federal Reserve meeting minutes as any other tool in our toolbox and manipulate them as we need if the markets did not interpret the Federal Reserve, the FOMC statement correctly. It's on record. And that is something that is by its definition distrustful. Yeah. So I'm hoping that, we've implemented press conferences. I still have pronoun issues. It's as if I'm still inside. The Federal Reserve has implemented press conferences following every meeting, which means that they're starting to grow up and be accountable and make every meeting for taxpayers count. And Jay Powell has, he's gotten rid of forward guidance. He's no longer pre-committing to any policy path. He's truly going to be, I believe, the most data-dependent Federal Reserve chair that we've had in years. There are many things that can be done to fix the Fed. I'm hoping that we can begin to put trust in the Fed. But again, of late, Powell's been sounding rather academic. So I'm a little on alert right now. I'm looking at my CNBC, and Ken Rogoff is on CNBC right now, the man who wants to eradicate cash.
There you go. There you go. Can we trust the Fed? I hope so. I hope so. Can we trust Yellen? I think she made that perfectly clear. Yellen is not someone that she would trust. This is back when she was the head of the Fed, and now here she is head of the Treasury. I don't think that issue of if you can trust her or not changed, just her position and title changed. So that coming from DiMartino Booth. Can't trust Yellen. And two sides of the digital coin. So how has China been doing with the ECNY? So let's take a look at that. It's been rolled out. So how has it been doing? Let's see. Their digital currency ECNY wallet, which we just had a peek at, nearly doubles user base in 2 months to 261 million ahead of Winter Olympics. This is getting close to the entire U.S. population if you want to compare it there. The ECNY app had been used in transactions totaling 13.8 billion by the end of December as the central bank pushed adoption of its digital currency. The currency has no official nationwide launch date, but is being trialed in several cities at the Winter Olympic venues. The official digital yuan app, ECNY, let's see, actually, we kind of read this. Um, Read that. The rapid growth of the ECNY is part of the central bank's aggressive push to boost adoption of the country's central bank digital currency, which is being trialed in at least 11 cities. And let me move on a bit. This part here gets kind of interesting. The proliferation of the sovereign digital currency in China, which strictly bans the use of cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, comes ahead of the 2022 Winter Olympics and the Lunar New Year holiday, which is today and tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow. Happy Chinese New Year. Sorry, guys. I should have said that earlier. Which both starts the first week of February. It also comes as Ant Group's Alipay. Okay, these are private social apps here. And Tencent Holdings WeChat Pay. Again, this is private. The country's two dominant mobile payment systems face increased regulatory insight. Ant is the fintech affiliate of Alibaba Holding, the owner of the South China Morning Post. And both of these apps also offer payments in digital yuan, but users must first have the ECNY app to transfer the currency into their digital wallets for Ant's MyBank or Tencent's WeBank. So you can see already how the arm is stretching out already into the private sector. And even the private sector is working with governments. So no formal timetable is out there and running and looks to be running well so far. Now, what do you think of this statement? I didn't read it in there, but Augustin Karsten's general manager at the Bank for International Settlements, said in a speech this week that central banks, not technology companies, are the best institutions to provide trust in money in the digital age. You got that? Central banks. Central banks are the best institutions to provide trust in money in the digital age. There goes the narrative, right? So here we go. We're going to see more and more of this. Trust us. Trust us. Anyways, here's a graphic on just how far behind the U.S. is on what Daniel DiMartino Booth had to say is a form or is definitely has to do with national security. Here is how far behind the U.S. is. Maybe you might like it being far behind, maybe not, but you can see in 2010, major cryptocurrencies slash CBDCs. In 2010, the first Bitcoin transaction. 2013, I'm on the right-hand side of the chart here. Bitcoin went mainstream, price surged above 1,000 USD for the first time. Go to the left side of the chart, the blue text. 2014, People's Bank of China set up a research group to study central bank digital currency. So back in 2014, they were already studying central bank digital currencies. And on the right-hand side, we were looking at Bitcoin and using Bitcoin while they were, I shouldn't say us and them, but on the left side, the ECNY was already being studied. 2015, on the right-hand side, Tether, the biggest stable coin by far, started trading. A lot of issues with Tether coin. We go down a bit. Bank of England Deputy Governor gave the first central banker policy speech on CBDCs. You go to the left side, PBOC published a series of research papers already on digital currencies, including central bank digital currencies. So you can see already how far ahead it's moving. 2017, People's Bank of China established the Digital Currency Research Institute and posted public hirings for computer cryptography expert. So they moved in and started hiring people to do the job. Let's see, 2017, PBOC invited Chinese commercial banks and payment institutions to join efforts in developing, I'm going to say, the app. And let's just come down a bit. Let's just go to the end, 2021, all the way at the bottom, 2021. ECNY pilot program expanded to 10 cities plus Winter Olympics. This is what we just looked at, that app. So here it is. It's functioning. And then you go on the right-hand side of 2021, May 2021, the Fed planned to publish a discussion paper this summer that will explore the possibility of using a CBDC. So, on one hand, it's out, it's fully functioning. On the other hand, they're exploring. And on the other hand, it was already done. But maybe exploring is a good thing because, as I showed you, they cannot do this without your legislators approving it. So if you like central bank digital currencies, okay, it seems like it's going to happen. If you don't like central bank digital currencies, got to get to your legislators because they are the ones that are ultimately going to allow the Fed to do this. So we're falling behind there, and we're also falling behind here. Let me go to some of the metals. This is back in 2019, but just to show you, U.S. Senate summons. Hang on, let me make this a bit bigger. Okay, U.S. Senate summons benchmark for hearing energy storage supply chains impact on lithium, cobalt, graphite, and nickel. Okay, so let's see. Benchmark Minerals Managing Director Simon Moores has been summoned by the U.S. Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources to testify on lithium, cobalt, nickel, and graphite supply chains for energy storage. This was back in 2019. Again, let me see. The highest level of U.S. government is taking the risks to its future automotive and energy. It's not just about an electric vehicle; it's also energy industries seriously. So again, they're just looking at it with the rise of electric vehicles and the true arrival of battery storage as part of the energy mix. Those that have low cost, abundant supply of quality lithium ion batteries will be ahead of the pack. Right now, China is leading the build out of this lithium ion battery capacity, and Benchmark Minerals now forecast the country to have 68%, more than half of global capacity by 2028, while the U.S. presently sits at 11. Okay, so let me move on to another article here. So U.S. is already behind in these critical metals for energy, and then we have, this is May 5th or 25th of 2021, where Biden, he is looking abroad for electric vehicle metals, and that's a blow to U.S. miners. So Biden is actually looking abroad and not taking advantage of doing it at home, kind of reminiscent of the Keystone Pipeline. But Biden will rely on ally countries. He's going to rely on ally countries to supply the bulk of the metals needed to build electric vehicles and focus on processing them domestically into battery parts. Part of a strategy designed to placate environmentalists to administration officials with direct knowledge, told Reuters. A couple problems with this straight away. You want to process it, but if you don't have it, what are you going to process? Really, what are you going to process if you can't get it? And, again, this has to do with environmentalists, but I'm sure it can be done in a cleaner way if that's the problem. But the plan will be a blow to U.S. miners who had hoped Biden would rely primarily on domestically sourced metals. And his campaign had signaled last autumn to help fulfill his ambitions for a less carbon intensive economy. And rather than focus on permitting more U.S. mines, Biden's team is more focused on creating jobs that process the minerals domestically into EV battery parts, according to people. Now, let me move on here. I don't get it. I mean, either the U.S. has not learned or ignored the lessons of supply chains that we saw through the bug as it went around the globe. The U.S. wants to outsource the most used metal for batteries in electric vehicles instead of getting it at home. No. Let's go ahead and get it from overseas. And this sounds, like I said, it sounds just like a Keystone Pipeline all over again, and it puts everything at risk all over again. Remember, U.S. was independent of oil. For the first time, it was off of foreign oil. It was even exporting, I believe, oil. First time. And all gone. It's gone. And again, this puts everything at risk once again. How's your gas prices? I know you guys are seeing those gas prices go up, energy prices going up. And it's not just the ordinary people who are seeing this. You can go ahead and look at Elon Musk, where Tesla signs a deal. Tesla signs a deal for first U.S. nickel supply with Talon Metals. Well, this got pretty big here. So this is pretty recent. January 10th, Tesla has signed its first U.S. nickel supply deal, choosing Talon Metal Corp's Tamarack Mine project in Minnesota due to plans to make the electric vehicle battery metal in a way it considers more environmentally friendly. Leave it to the private sector. Government is just, at least U.S. government, our governments in the West, too big, too slow. The deal announced on Monday comes as demand for nickel is expected to jump over the next decade as EVs go mainstream. Nickel bolsters energy storage in a battery's cathode, which in turn extends the EV's range. And this is why we do sell nickel, because we also seen how this is really going to explode. If you guys are interested in nickel, go ahead to our website, silverbullion.com.sg. This is physical nickel. If you want to get exposure to that nickel price, it's one way to do it, probably the safest way to do it. Tesla chief executive Elon Musk in 2020 pleaded with the mining industry to produce more nickel in an environmentally sensitive way. Musk also derided U.S. nickel production as objectively very lame. By sourcing from the Minnesota project, a joint venture with Rio Tinto slated to open by 2026, Musk secures a key U.S. source of the metal for Tesla battery factories in Texas and Nevada, while also reducing the company's supply lines, and that's key. The automaker said last year and signed nickel supply deals with BHP over in Australia and New Caledonia. And also on the table are rare earths. This is also key. Chinese rare earth minerals are a national security risk, says Senator Mark Kelly. Let me make this a bit larger. Biden administration push to reduce U.S. reliance on imports has renewed domestic efforts to produce rare earths minerals critical to the production of electric vehicles and electronics. A new bipartisan Senate bill is aiming to accelerate that timeline by banning defense contractors from sourcing those minerals in the first place. You got that? They're going to ban defense contractors from sourcing those materials in the first place. This is overseas. An interview with Yahoo Finance. Okay, let me go down. We've got to stop relying on rare earths in our defense industry, or Chinese rare earths in our defense industry. It's a national security risk to us. If China decided to cut us off on those rare earth minerals right now, this would have a serious impact on our national defense. So this requires that DoD and the Department of Interior work together to build a stockpile of rare earth minerals. Okay, so, I mean, in being fair about this also, if the U.S. didn't weaponize the dollar, sanction people all the time and this and that and this and that, maybe it wouldn't get to that point where you need to worry about people cutting you off. So, because print money, make the dollar worth less and less and less, people have had to move on. Other nations have had to move on. And, U.S., basically, we kind of stayed put. Other countries had to move on and advance. And you're seeing this now to where it becomes points of national security. But, so much so, a point of national security that defense contractors will have to look for other minerals and metals. And it's not going to stop there. One more thing for you. And what I mean by this is, if they want these metals, they're going to have to look in other places. But really what they want is to not have to use those metals. Again, I showed you, with nickel, China's way ahead of the rest of the world. 68%. U.S. is at 11%. You're looking at these rare earth metals, way behind in that as well. So many things that the U.S. and even the West is behind in. I want to show you one more thing also.
Intel will invest $20 billion in a massive new manufacturing site in Ohio. The 1,000-acre site near Columbus will be used to develop and make semiconductor chips. The complex would also be a job maker with 3,000 permanent roles on the way. And it's just the first step in what could be an 8-factory mega complex costing $100 billion. CEO Pat Gelsinger said the site would be a new epicenter for advanced chip making in the US. Intel is trying to win back its position as maker of the smallest and fastest chips from the current leader, Taiwan's TSMC. It is also a potential boost for the US government's efforts to raise the country's supply of semiconductors and its aim to make more in America. However, it won't do much to alleviate the current global crisis over chip supplies, with the new plants taking years to build. Intel says output from the first two factories will begin in 2025. It's already broken ground on 2 other new plants in Arizona.
Okay, so all these things continue to hammer home that a global power shift is happening, and the U.S. does not seem to be in a position to have its currency continue on as the world's reserve currency, maybe much longer. And some are going to cheer for that. Some are going to worry. Some, don't really understand what it all means. And this is why we do have to understand what this all means and why there is a possibility of the U.S. hearing the words checkmate. That's going to end up wrapping up the topic of the day. And let me get over to comments here, see how you folks are doing. Um, when I looked at this again, you know, I knew the U.S. was behind the nickel for quite a while because, as I said, we do sell nickel, and we've seen people, run into it, buying it hand over fist. We've seen that. They understand what's going on. When you look at things like semiconductors, a lot of people may not know, but Taiwan is the biggest semiconductor, most advanced uh, semiconductor uh, producer in the world. And this is why, I believe anyway, you have that ongoing conflict between, China and Taiwan and US and Taiwan, because without those chips, uh, whoever controls Taiwan controls the chips. Right now, Taiwan controls the chips, so they're okay. Sending them here, sending them there. But whoever controls the chips, they're going to control where it goes, and which is why it's a big deal for the U.S. You just saw they're not going to have a fully functioning plant years from now, so it's a big deal. And again, nickel way behind, rare earth metals way behind, and these have to do with a lot of items for national defense. I know they go into a lot of the jets, the fighter jets, the rare earth metals. So it's a very very big deal. Depending on who you are and where you're at, either you want to say checkmate or you don't want to hear those words checkmate. So again, however you feel, do something. Try your best to do something about it. Comments here. Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, I think there was a question about um, nickel, the nickel coin in the U.S. and the penny. The pennies had copper up until 82, from what I believe. Up until 82, the pennies actually had copper in them. The nickel coin, I don't think there's any nickel in it, or a very, very small. There's not much nickel in it, even though it's still called nickel, not much nickel in it. And of course, we know quarters and all of those, no real silver in it, like how it used to be. So even the money is not. You took out all the metals, the copper, the nickel, the silver, gone. Took out the gold for sure. So, it's gone. And these, are pretty significant. All we have is just a printing press right now with paper. So it's printing all the paper in digits, not even paper anymore. It's digits. Okay, so I'll move on to the comment section. Yeah, U.S. is falling behind. West, I think in general has fallen behind of what's going on in Asia. Um, Again, some like hearing that, some like don't. I'm just saying, living in Asia and my family back home in the West, yeah, I can see what's going on 2 sides. That word checkmate, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Again, it all depends on you. But the world is moving away from the US dollar. Oil and other resources are challenged. The thing is, you cannot bully your way to secure those resources. Why? Because eventually the day will come where, without innovation, nations will end up fighting over these resources. And no one wants that. Yes, the US is behind. All the more reason where this puts the world's reserve currency behind and at risk. And we are seeing central bank digital currencies already. It's the real deal. For you, this is where having stores of wealth like physical gold and silver absolutely come into play, because this is going to deal with money. Furthermore, having a true gold backed token, silver backed token that anyone and everyone can see exist. Meaning, when you go and you want to tell them you're going to pay with gold, they can actually see, okay, this guy does have it. You may need it to be a medium of exchange. And I've said this before, at least a small percentage of your gold, your silver, uh, tokenize it, at least a small percentage in case you ever need to use it to spend or barter. I'm not saying the whole thing, but give yourself options. It's always about options. Make sure your gold and silver can work for you and do the things that you need it to do. Last thing you want, again, is to hear that word checkmate, especially to be called on you and your life's savings. Checkmate, US dollars, no good anymore. Checkmate, whatever fiat you're operating in is no good anymore. You have assets, you have homes, all of these things, and you have money, but checkmate, that money is wiped out. You need things like gold and silver, whatever it is, to be money. That way you don't have to dump your assets to get whatever's being considered to be money. So again, diversify. Just diversify as best you can. I'll take a look at the comments, and then we'll wrap up here. Thank you guys for staying with me this long. 133 thumbs ups. Appreciate those. Appreciate it a lot. If you can, go ahead and send a thumbs up. Okay, so what we got? Carriel and Wilder, U.S. coin is 75% copper, 25% nickel. Okay, so yeah, maybe I'm corrected here. Thank you. Maybe it does hold some nickel there. Okay, what else is out here? Um, okay, oil and coal. Okay, I'm just running through comments here. Um, yeah, JP's, our silver will go up when the paper crashes. And I always find that statement interesting because goes up relative to, and then are we talking dollars or some other fiat currency? Are we talking in relation to SDRs or whatever it is? I kind of look at it as simply look at it as a commodity to commodity basis, because commodities are going to be the only things that are real, and so you want your commodities to be important to other commodities. And I think you're right that we don't know exactly what the value of silver will be, but it probably may not be a monetary value. It's going to be a life value, meaning it is valuable relative to something else. So I think, in that regards, silver is extremely important, extremely, extremely important. So that's a great comment there. Um, let's see. Current nickel has 6 cent melt value. So a 5 cent coin has a 6 cent melt value. Go get some nickels, guys. Go ahead and run out to the bank and exchange $20 all for nickels if that's the case. Okay, thanks for letting me know that. But okay, you guys, seems like everything is okay. Um, Interesting times for sure. Just be aware of things. Keep your head on a swivel, as I say, whether it's financial, economic, whether it has to do with money, uh, geopolitics, and watch your politicians. Watch what they're doing. Um, you know, you, I think it's basic common sense here. If you have a new guy, 1 year in, 2 years in, he's gonna try and do what he can for you. But 5 years in, 10, 20, I think chances are, it's difficult for him to do anything for you who voted for him unless he compromises with people who are in there, and which compromises him. So, get him in, get him out. I mean, the president's only there for 4 years, the U.S. anyway. Your congressmen, they're there for two. Get them in, get them out. I mean, just don't let them stay there too long. Otherwise, we know what happens. You get some Congress people who end up being the best investors in the world. How that happens. So anyway, keep an eye on things. Um, okay. Yeah, nickel. Let me see. Okay. Well, everything looks okay. Appreciate you guys being here once again. Happy Chinese New Year. It's coming up. And above all else, as I always say, be a blessing, not a burden. I think you guys can see a lot of things that are coming ahead. Position yourself to be able to take care of yourself and your family, and then take care of those around you if you can. Never mind if people think you're crazy. It's part of the game. It's just part of the game. My family thinks I'm crazy as well. If it helps you out there, my sister, she's in real estate, and she tells me for the first time she's had someone give $1 million in cash for a house. She's never seen that before. So all these things we're telling you is it's real. I'm seeing it on a personal level as well too now. So be a blessing, not a burden. Do what you can for everyone. And as I always say, saddle up for what's coming ahead. Silver up as well. I'll see you guys in a week or two. Make sure to check your subscription buttons, and it's all good. Take care, and I'll see you soon.